In this video, we'll answer the question, what is a triplet? But to be a little bit more precise, we'll actually talk about what is a tuplet, because while triplet is probably the thing that you've heard more frequently, there are other types of things like duplets or septuplet. They work the exact same way as a triplet. Now, the way that I like to make this really clear, it's important to make sure you understand how time signatures work. So if you haven't watched one of those time signature videos yet, or if you don't think you have a good grasp of time signatures, go ahead and watch those two time signature videos first to make sure that this makes sense. Otherwise, if you don't have a great sense of time signatures, it'll still probably work for you, but maybe not quite as well. Let's suppose that we're in 4/4. That means that there are 4 quarter notes in every measure, or 4 beats in every measure, and each beat is represented by a quarter note to be a little bit more precise. And in 4/4, if you remember, this is a simple quadruple time signature. If you don't remember that, that's fine. But what that means is each beat can be divided equally into 2 parts. Right? Instead of just a quarter note, I could have 2 eighth notes in the same amount of time. So I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, or I could count eighth notes. 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. But what if on one of those notes, I wanted to have it, instead of being divided into 2 parts, I wanted it to be divided into 3 parts? Well, that would be a triplet. And the way I would do that is I would write 3 notes, 3 eighth notes. Now, 3 eighth notes don't fit in the amount of time as a quarter note. So to show that I want them to do that, I could put a little 3 with some brackets there. So I still have 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. But one of them is divided into triplets. Well, how would the bottom part of this sound if I got rid of these quarter notes? It would sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and. Did you notice that each of these is divided into 2 equal parts? This one is divided into 3 equal parts. 1 and 2 and 3 and a 4 and. I could do the opposite too, which we don't talk about as much, but happens a lot. Let's say I were in a compound meter, like 6/8. So 6/8 usually means that I would have 2 beats and each one is a dotted quarter note. If that sounds completely foreign to you, chances are you didn't watch that compound time signatures video, which is okay. But if you want this to really make sense, I highly recommend you go ahead and watch that. So there are 2 beats in this, and each one gets divided into 3 beats. Or 3, rather, not 3 beats, but 3 divisions of the beat, like this, right? We could go 1, 2, or 1 and a, 2 and a. But if I wanted one of them to be divided only into 2 equal parts, I would make a duplet. In other words, 2 divided in the space of 3. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and. So it's kind of the opposite of this. I can make this number anything that I want. The number is just telling me how many notes I'm cramming into the same space. You could do something like this. I'm going to go back to 4/4. I could have a piece of music that looks like this. I could have a half note, and then a quarter note, and then in my last beat, I could have whatever number. I could have, etc., etc. And I could even put a 17 down here, and it's saying there are 17 notes divided in the space. Do we see music like this? Actually, yeah, especially in Chopin, we're really likely to see stuff like this. Does it mean that somebody is actually calculating, subdividing the way that we might subdivide 1 and 2 and 3 and are they actually saying 1 through 17 in their heads, counting? No. When we get into these numbers, we're, especially the tempos that we're often doing these kinds of things in, usually what we're thinking is 1, 2, 3, 4 is a flourish. Make sure we land on 1 of the next measure. And we're just kind of playing all 17 notes in a kind of fast, rapid passage, making sure that we land on beat 1 again. Okay, so all of these are called tuplets. Again, our most common, triplet. Next most common, duplet. But any number is possible to be down here at the bottom. Or if I have notes with beams going down, stems going down like this. Oh, sorry. Stems going up, rather. Like this. Then I would put the numbers at the top. If you found that video helpful, please click the subscribe button below to find more videos just like it.